Hello and welcome to the Exam 2 review video. I'm going to go ahead and work through the problems on this worksheet. If you don't want to listen to me talk, the key is available on Canvas. All right. Number 1, Miss Wang is to receive Zithromax oral suspension 1 gram PO now. How many milliliters will you administer? So right off the bat, I'm just going to take this 1 gram. I'm going to look at my conversion sheet and figure out that it's 1,000 milligrams, right? It's going to save me from doing conversions in my dimensional analysis. Okay. Now I have to figure out how many milliliters I'm going to give, right? So I'm going to use this concentration right here that's on the label that's telling me that there's 200 milligrams in every 5 milliliters. So I'm going to start with XML, right? Because I always start with what I need to look for. I'm going to take my concentration and just write it upside down. So 5 milliliters, 200 milligrams. And then my order, I already know, is 1,000 milligrams. Okay. I like to multiply across the top first and then divide the bottom. So I'm going to do 5 times 1,000 and then divide by 200. And I'm going to get 25 as my answer. Okay. If you do want to do your conversion inside your dimensional analysis, this is what it's going to look like. You have XML. Right? And so this cell becomes 5 times 1,000. And you divide by 200. Okay, and you'll get the same 25. Number 2. Okay. The licensed prescriber orders Vibromycin 100 milligrams daily. You have Vibromycin syrup that comes in 50 milligrams for every 5 milliliters. How many milliliters will you administer? So again, I always start with what I'm looking for, right? How many milliliters? XML. My problem told me my concentration, but it's also right here on the label. Can I write it upside down? 5 milliliters, 50 milligrams. And then multiply by my order, which was 100. Right? So again, I like to go straight across first and then divide the bottom. Right? And so you'll get 10 milliliters as your answer. Okay. Number 3. Your licensed prescriber orders Flagyl 750 3 times a day for 5 days. You have a supply that is 250 milligram tablets. How many tablets will the nurse give? So X tab, because I'm looking for how many tablets. The question is telling me that all I have is 250 tablets, so 1 tab is 250. Right? And then my order was 750. Right? So 750 divided by 250, you'll get 3. Right? And again, all of these questions are asking for things per dose, right? So in the question, it might say like 3 times a day for 5 days or whatever else, but we're just figuring out how much it is per dose. Okay, so really you can just ignore all of this, right? The only important things that you need to know here is your order, right? How it's supplied, in what you're ultimately looking for. That's it. Okay. Okay. Your patient was admitted with seizure activity. Licensed prescriber orders phenobarbital 30 milligrams, PO every 8 hours. How many tablets will you administer per dose? Right, again, there's that per dose right there. So, how many tablets is our question? So, X tab, right? Our label right here is telling us how much one tablet is, which is 15. So, one tablet, 15 milligrams. And then we multiply by the order. Right? So 30 divided by 15, 2. Right? Questions usually 2 or 0.5. All right, let's keep going. Licensed prescriber orders Zyprexa 15 milligrams. How many tablets will the nurse administer per dose? Right, again, there's that per dose. So, how many tablets? X tab. Our label is telling us that one tablet is 7.5, so, oops. One tab, 7.5. Multiply by our order. And 15 divided by 7.5 is 2 again. Okay? All right, number 6. Mr. Tate, who suffers from chronic gout, has Xyloprim 0.15 grams PO daily in the mornings. How many tablets will he receive per dose? So again, this is in grams. I don't like it. I'm probably going to convert it right away. So I want it in milligrams, right? I'm looking at my conversion sheet. I know that there's 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram. Take my order, right? So 1,000 times 0.15 is 150 milligrams. Right, I'm just gonna write it up here, 150 milligrams. Okay. All right, now I can look at this label, right? And right here it's telling me that each tablet is 100. So, right, how many tablets is my question? X tab. One tablet is 100. My order is 150. So 150 divided by 100. 1.5. Right? Again, if you wanted to do your dimensional analysis inside, this is what it will look like. Right? So you would take 1,000 times it by 0.15 and then divide by 100. Okay. Number 7. Mr. Bales requires PenVK 250 milligrams. It comes in a solution that's 125 milligrams for every 5 milliliters, right? How many milliliters will administer per dose? right? So XML, right? Our concentration is given to us right here, so I'm just gonna write it upside down, 5 milliliters, 125, multiply by my order, right? 5 times 250 and divide by 125. So I get 10. Okay. Number 8. Colace syrup, 25 milligrams, PO 3 times a day, is ordered for constipation. How many milliliters will you administer per dose, right? So be careful with this label, right? Because in very big numbers and letters, it's telling you that it's 8 fluid ounces, which are like, oh my God, now I have to convert so many things. But right here, right, it's telling you that for every 5 milliliters, there's 20 milligrams of Colace available. Or for every 15, there's 60, right? So, you can pick which one you want to use to figure out how many milliliters you'll give to your patient. Right? That's our question. How many milliliters? So XML. Right? I'm going to use the smaller one. So I'm going to say 5 milliliters is 20 milligrams. Right? And 25 milligrams was my order. Right? So 5 times 25 divide by 20. So I get 6.25, right? I didn't tell you to round or anything, so I'm going to leave it as 6.25. Okay. All right, number 9. Licensed prescriber orders Dilantin 100. You have Dilantin 50 milligrams available. How many tablets will you administer per dose, right? So how many tablets is our question? X tab. All right. You could just read this question and figure out that it's 2, which you are correct, right? 1 tab, 50. Your order is 100. Divided by 50 is 2. And again, right, every single question just says per dose. All right. Your patient had a bilateral turbinate reduction. He's supposed to get 650 milligrams of acetaminophen. Your acetaminophen comes in 325 tablets. How many tablets will you administer per dose? Again, you could just look at this and be like, oh, it's 2, which you would be correct. Let's do it. X tab. Right, 1 tablet is 325. Your order is 650. $650 divided by 325 is going to give you 2. Okay. Number 11. You have an order for Vistaril, 25 milligrams. How many milliliters will you give? Okay. So XML, right? Your concentration's right here on the label. So I'm just gonna write it upside down, milliliters, 50 milligrams. And then 25 milligrams is your order. Right. 25 divided by 50, you're gonna get 0.5. Okay. Your patient with a septoplasty complains of nausea and has promethazine 25 milligrams ordered. How many milliliters will you administer? Again, you could just look at this and figure out that it's 0.5. Oh, I don't know how I switched to blue. And you will be correct. Okay. XML. 1 milliliter is 50 milligrams. We know that from our label. 25 milligrams is your order. And so 25 divided by 50 is going to give you 0.5. Okay. Let me make this thicker, it's bothering me. Okay. Your patient has undergone a tympanomastoidectomy and complains of pain and has codeine, 30 milligrams ordered. Your codeine is supplied in a 1 milliliter ampule containing 15 milligrams. How many milliliters will you administer? Right. So question again is how many milliliters? So XML. Right. Right here it's telling us that 1 milliliter is equal to 15 milligrams. Okay. And our order said 30. Right. 30 divided by 15, 2. Okay. Number 14, licensed prescriber orders Dilaudid 0.5 milligrams. How many milliliters will the nurse administer? Right. How many milliliters? XML. Right here or right there, we know that our Dilaudid is 2 milligrams for every 1 milliliter. Our order is only to give 0.5 milligrams. So 0.5 divided by 2. 0.25, I didn't tell you to round, so just leave it at 0.25. Licensed prescriber orders Thorazine 100 milligrams. It's supplied in a 10 milliliter vial containing 25 milligrams per milliliter. How many milliliters will you give? Right. How many milliliters? XML. Right. You have your concentration right here on the label, but also the problem's telling you that it's 25 milligrams per milliliter. I'm just gonna write it upside down. Right. Your order called for 100. Right. So 100 divided by 25 is gonna give you 4. Moving right along, your severely agitated patient has diazepam 2 milligrams ordered. How many milliliters will you administer? Right. How many milliliters? XML. Right here is your concentration. I'm just gonna write it upside down. There's my order of 2 milligrams. Right. So this becomes 2 divided by 5, and I get 0.4. (17) Atropine 0.7 milligrams is ordered. You have it available as 0.5 milligrams for every milliliter. How many milliliters? Right, XML. Your concentration's right there. Just write it upside down. Your order. So 0.7 divided by 0.5. And I get 1.4 as my answer. Okay. 18-year patient with congestive heart failure has furosemide 20 milligrams ordered. How many milliliters will you administer? So XML. Right. Your concentration's right here, or you can use the one below it, the smaller one, right? Doesn't matter. Let's do the 4 milliliter over 40, right? 20 milligrams order. Right, so then you'll have 4 times 20 divided by 40. You get 2. Or if you use the smaller concentration, it'll be, right, XML, but it'll be milliliter over 10 times 20 milligrams over order, right? And so this becomes 20 divided by 10, which is equal to 2. This is why I usually prefer, if it's available, to use the smaller numbers, because there's just less math to do. Moving on. Your licensed prescriber orders digoxin 0.3 milligrams. How many milliliters will you administer? So XML. Right. Again, this label is giving me a lot of information. I have this concentration that's equal to this concentration that's also this concentration, right? However, right, my question's in milligrams, right? And out of these 3 things on the label, only this one's also in milligrams, right? Because I'm trying to avoid conversions that I don't have to do, okay? So I'm going to write 2 milliliters, 0.5 milligrams, right? And 0.3 milligrams is my order. So 2 times 0.3, and then we divide by 0.5. And I get 1.2 as my final answer. Okay, moving right along. Licensed prescriber orders Lovenox 85 milligrams. It's available as a 40 milligram per 0.4 milliliters, right? How many milliliters will you give? So using our available concentration, I'm just gonna write it up, upside down. Okay. So 0.4 multiplied by 85 and then divide by 40. I get 0.85 as my final answer. Again, I did not tell you to round, so leave it like that. Okay. Number 21, licensed prescriber orders penicillin 500,000 units. It comes available as a 400,000 unit per 5 milliliter suspension. How many milliliters will you give? Right? So XML again. Right? Here's my concentration. I'm just going to write it backwards. My order, So this is 5 times 500,000 divided all by 400,000. I get 6.25 as my answer. Again, I didn't tell you to round, so leave it like that. Okay. Licensed prescriber orders Glargine insulin 40 units. Draw a vertical line through the syringe to indicate the dose, right? Easy peasy, 40 right there. Okay. Mr. Stone has epoetin 36,000 units injected once 3 weeks before his surgery. You have epoetin 40,000 units per milliliter available. How many milliliters will you give, right? So XML. All right, we have milliliter. That is equal to 40,000. Right. And we have to give Mr. Stone 36,000. Right, that's our order. Okay. So this is 36,000 divided by 40,000. If you're comfortable with canceling out the zeros, you can do this. Making this 36 divided by 40. 0.9 is your final answer. Okay. Licensed prescriber orders insulin 6 units. Draw a vertical line through the syringe to indicate the dose. Right here, 6 units. Okay. Blah, 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 18 units. Draw a vertical line to indicate the dose. Right here. Okay. All right. Number 26, there's an order for penicillin 300,000 units. The drug is supplied as 200,000 units for every 5 milliliters. How many milliliters will you give? XML. I know my concentration. 5 is equal to 200,000. My order. Right, so 5 times 300,000 over 200,000. And I get 7.5 as my answer. Okay. Let's see. Licensed prescriber orders NPH 12 units and regular 8 units. Draw a vertical line through the syringe to indicate the amount of regular insulin. So that was 8, right? 8. And 8 is right here. Okay. And then second line to indicate total dose, right? What's 12 plus 8? 20. So 20 is right here. All right. I'm going to make this a little smaller so I have some room. Okay. Miss Kate has chronic sinusitis. Her licensed prescriber orders amoxicillin 375 milligrams PO every 8 hours. What should be used as the diluent? So that answer is right in here. Okay. A is water. Okay. How many milliliters of diluent should be added? It's in that same highlighted area. We're going to add 105 milliliters of water. Okay. Now we have to figure out how many milligrams are in the bottle, right? So we're going to use the concentration that we know, 250 milligrams for every 5 milliliters, right? We know that the entire contents of the bottle are 150 milliliters, right? Our question is how many milligrams. So I'm going to say X mg, okay? 250 milligrams, right, per every 5 milliliters. My bottle is 150. Right. So 250 times 150 and divide by 5. I get 7,500 milligrams, right, for C. That's how many milligrams are in the bottle. Okay, let's move down. So D. D is asking us how many milliliters will we give with each dose, right? So X ml, right, as we've been doing, again, our concentration is available to us. I'm just going to write it upside down. 5 milliliters is 250 milligrams, right? What's our order, right? It's up here, 375. So 5 times 375, and then divide by 250. $7.5 milliliters per dose, right? And then E, how many doses are in the bottle, right? X dose, right? We just figured out that one dose is 7.5 milliliters. We know that the entire contents of the bottle are 150, right? We got that from our label. $150 divided by 7.5. 20 doses in the whole bottle. Okay. All right, let's do another one. Mrs. Hall has acute bronchitis and has Cefaclor 450 milligrams ordered. What should be used as the diluent? All right, so A and B are hiding right in here. Directions for mixing. Okay. So A, what should be used as our diluent? It's water. Right. B, how many milliliters of diluent should be added? Right, 62. Right. How many milligrams are in the bottle? Right. So for this one, I need my concentration, which is right here. Right. And then how much the total bottle holds, which is right up here. Right. So how many milligrams? XMG. Right. My concentration from the label, 375 milligrams for every 5 milliliters. Right. My bottle is 100. So 375 times 100 and divide by 5. 7,500. Okay. All right. How many milliliters will the nurse administer per dose? Okay. So D. How many milliliters? XML. Right. I'm going to be using my same concentration from the label. Just going to write it upside down. Right. My order was for 450. So I'm going to use that. Okay. 6 milliliters per dose. Okay. So final question, right? How many doses are in the bottle, right? X doses. We just figured out that one dose is 6 milliliters. We know that the entire contents of the bottle are 100. Right, 100 divided by 6. 16.66. Right, it keeps going. So rounded down to the nearest whole number, right? There's 16 full doses in the bottle. Okay. All right, and last but not least, number 30. Right. Licensed prescriber orders ANSA 500 milligrams. How much diluent will be added to the bottle? Right. So for IM administration right here, add 2.5 milliliters of sterile water. Right. So A is 2.5 milliliters. Right. B. What is the concentration after reconstitution? Right. Again, it's down here. Right. So our concentration is going to be 330 milligrams per milliliter. Right. And then C, how many milliliters will the nurse administer? Right. XML. We just figured out our concentration. I'm just going to write it upside down. Milliliter, 330 milligrams. My order, 500. Right, so 500 divided by 330. I get 1.5151. So it doesn't tell us to round, but I think if we just round to 1.5, we'll be good. Okay. All right, and that's it. Thank you for listening.